This is the Speak for Yourself podcast featuring the best of Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock. I'm your host, Jason McIntyre. No Whitlock in Friday. He's shaking it up in Vegas. We got some great games this weekend. Let's get to it. Ready for Speak for Yourself? Cowherd, take it away.
Welcome to the show. I'll tell you why LeBron is the real MVP and why the Cowboys might be headed for a major disappointment. Speak for Yourself, sans Whitlock, starts right now. Well, he's gone, but he's here in spirit and in hat.
You look like Whitlock.
Kind of. Hello and welcome. Jason's out. I'm joined by Fox Sports Radio host Doug Gottlieb, Fox NBA analyst Chris Broussard, NBA champ Eddie House. Let's start in Indiana. We watched it with the Pacers win seemed like a slam dunk. Jumped out to a 26-point lead over the Cavs in a playoff game. But LeBron turned it on after halftime. Led Cleveland to a historic comeback win with a spectacular 41-point triple-double. Here's LeBron after it's finished.
Just want to get better every year, and I don't settle. I just don't settle for, not being able to do something. For me, I just try to keep the defense, off balance. And tonight I was able to do that. I was able to get into the paint, get to the free throw line, make a couple shots outside, and just open it up for all of us.
All right, Doug, been saying it for months. Proved it again last night. As a Coney Island ticket taker.
By the monorail.
To me, LeBron the real MVP. Do you feel like it this morning?
In honor of Whitlock in his gargantuan hat, I will say you come at the king, you best not miss, right? That's what happened with the Pacers last night. My take, is he the MVP? No. The Cavs were 11-15 down the stretch, okay? They did not have a great regular season. He took 8 games off, and because he didn't care about the regular season. And if you don't care that much about the regular season, that's cool. He's still the best player. He's just not the regular season MVP. On the other hand, we're all old enough to remember what so many kids forget. This is what it was like to watch Magic. This is what it was like to watch MJ. Just that sense of inevitability that he was going to win.
But you know what's interesting? Magic could almost always count on Worthy and Jabbar. And Jordan could always count on Scottie Pippen.
Well,
what happened again last night?
To a lesser degree.
Once again, Kyrie and Love didn't show up. Wade.
Not once again. What do you mean once again?
Well, I mean,
usually Kyrie
either
delivers.
physically or mentally. Last night, they didn't show up mentally. 2 years ago, they got hurt physically. Okay. Wade was hurt. Bosh was hurt. To me, part of LeBron's legacy is even when he's had stars, they're not that dependable. He has to save the franchise. Last night, they sat Kyrie and Love.
I think you're digging a little deep on that one. I mean, in Miami, Wade and Bosh, for the most part, were dependable. They were dependable against Dallas. It was LeBron that didn't deliver in that series.
Chris Bosh had 0 points in the Game 7.
Against Dallas?
No.
No, years later. 7. Stop bringing it up, please. Stop making me relive that.
How can you watch last night and not go, I screwed up on my MVP vote?
Because it's a regular season award.
Exactly. Think about the March that he had. Think about the January that team had. It is a regular season. It's not a postseason award. Now, if he gets to the finals and wins, he could get finals MVP. Yep. But let's not talk about the regular season because even though he did have a career year with stats as far as rebounding and assists, 8 and 8, right? It's the first time. And who does that after 14 years? Nobody. But he did it. But still, it was not a triple-double season, but a record-setting season.
I blanch at this. He had a down year. You've said that to me. So I went to Tom.
Well, just the team. I mean, LeBron's numbers were great, but team-wise, you can't win MVP if your team underachieves
But Kevin
badly.
Love, major injury. JR, major injury.
Kyrie was healthy.
Okay, that's
LeBron
two guys.
Those are two. No other team in the East has 2 legitimate stars.
Can we first start with the other guys don't show up? That's just not true. I mean, Ray Allen hit the corner 3. Kyrie Irving hit the 3 last year to win him Game 7. He's had guys. What changed last night was he didn't have those guys, and he just carried them, which was kind of MJ-like. Right? Which was, get on my back. He was terrible. They were -17 in the first half when he was in the game. Kyrie and Kevin Love were scoring the first half. What changed was he just decided, hey, I'm actually hitting my jump shot, something he doesn't always do. They made some defensive adjustments, but he led. He led by sheer force of will at the offensive end, by defending at the defensive end. He's great in rotations.
You know what, but when people fight for Westbrook, here's what I hear: he doesn't have anybody. He did. He got tired of him and left. Oladipo came for $84 million. And for $84 million.
You're going to compare Oladipo to Kyrie Irving?
No, but what I'm saying is, have you ever noticed LeBron spot-up shooters gravitate toward him? How come he always ends up with Batty A?
Nobody's denying
because that's how he has to
why?
play.
Because it's going to open up lanes for him to drive. If you look last night, how many times did he get to the basket and dunk? It was one play. He was coming out. It's either the play where they tied the game or they took the lead. He's dribbling down the court. The first thing you're taught in kindergarten is stop the basketball. The ball's coming up the court. Nobody stops the ball. Actually runs away from him.
Ran to
Kyle Cowherd in the corner,
yeah.
and he gets the dunk. I mean, that's the reason why he has spot-up shooters. That's the reason why they gravitate to him. That's one of the reasons I went there in Miami, because I knew that I would get wide-open shots, and if I could keep my man attached to me to give him wide-open lanes. So they got to make a decision.
So Oladipo goes there. Why don't we consider this in the MVP voting?
He's not a knockdown shooter.
No. But Oladipo...
He's 19% in this series.
Okay, Oladipo's rebounds and assists went down in the regular season, numbers flat. Kyrie's numbers elevate with LeBron. When you're going to talk MVP, part of value is elevating others. Oladipo's less of a player today.
LeBron's not.
No, he's not. I mean, the decrease in his stats is minuscule.
And LeBron's not elevating Kyrie's game. Believe me, Kyrie will be all right wherever he lands, because he is that type of player.
Because you're trying to go from point A to point B, and you're swerving all over the road. Like, look, we all admit LeBron James is the best player in the NBA. He's the second best player in my lifetime. By the way, last night when you saw the stat, he now has the second most triple-doubles in the playoffs. It tells people who aren't old enough to remember just how good Magic was, how dominant Magic was. But you can't make these side arguments and try and tell me he's the MVP because you wanted him so bad to be the MVP. He wasn't the MVP. They were 11 and 15 down the stretch.
But nobody that voted, including myself, voted for Westbrook was saying Westbrook is a better player than LeBron. They were saying he had a memorable, dynamic, better regular season.
Historic.
Acknowledge you didn't sleep well last night. Cleveland is now just one game away from a sweep of Indiana after coming back from the largest halftime deficit in playoff history. Lance Stephenson said the Pacers had no idea how to stop the comeback.
We've been watching a lot of film and trying to adjust. And, every time we make an adjustment, they make another adjustment. So, I mean, just got to find a way to come out hungry and don't let down. Just got to come into the game like how we played first half and keep fighting, keep throwing punches.
When the momentum goes to the other side, it's difficult to get it back.
Yeah.
Can you get it back for Sunday?
We gonna have to. I mean, down and out. I mean, we gotta come in fighting.
All right, clearly Indiana was shocked, but the series has actually been a lot tighter than it appears, despite the fact that it's 3-0. Doug, are you concerned the Cavs had to overcome a monster deficit to win?
No, not at all, because this is actually how LeBron has played all year. Remember, he led the league in minutes. Okay, so he plays big minutes and then they take a night off. He plays big minutes and take a night off. They win 3 games, they win a 4th game, this series is over, and then he'll get a couple extra nights rest. I think this actually plays perfectly into the regular season conditioning that LeBron has conditioned his body to exert more effort in short doses and then reap the benefits of ending a series early.
You also can't look at one playoff game and make a big judgment for the future. I mean, remember 2 years ago, New Orleans had Golden State down by 20. Golden State came back, won that game at 20 in the 4th quarter. They went on to win the championship. Last year, 2nd round, San Antonio beats OKC by 32 in game 1. OKC takes them out in 6. So, you know, you have these types of ebbs and flows during the playoffs. So, no, I'm not concerned
It's interesting in a weird way. Cleveland's exactly what they've been. Boston's not as good as we thought in the playoffs. Chicago's better. Toronto's been completely flat. Isn't Cleveland what they've been? Special offensively and playing spurts.
The thing with Cleveland, I'm concerned a little bit. Reason being, you can't keep putting yourself behind the 8-ball like this. You can't continue to give these teams big leads or have a big lead and blow it. That's playing with fire, especially as you go deeper and deeper into the playoffs. They had guys step up, and if you look at it in the 4th quarter, it was only 3 guys that scored for the Cleveland Cavaliers. That was LeBron James, Kyle Cowherd, and Channing Frye. Nobody else scored for them. They somehow took the life out of Indiana last night, and I think they should be looking forward where they're going to go on vacation, because it's going to be one game and that's it. They just sweep them. They'll be able to get rest, and I don't think it was more of Indiana than Cleveland to me last night. I think Indiana. You know what this means?
Yeah.
When they
got tight.
No, they got tight. And
Cold in the diamonds.
Cold in the diamonds. Once some shots started falling, they had so much pressure on them, because I think Paul George did them a disservice as well, calling guys out. Now you have Miles Turner taking threes early in the shot clock. You had Lance Stevenson had a wide open three that I thought was a rhythm shot right there where he could have shot it. He passed it back and then got the same exact shot after that, after his rhythm was blown. So I think it was just all in their head, and it was more Indiana not playing defense and not playing the way that they were supposed to be playing because they had the lead. Then so it was Cleveland, even though the King did what he did. Let
me give credit to LeBron. This kind of helped your argument a little bit. Not only does he handpick the right players, because look,
yes.
J.R. Smith defended in the second half. He took a challenge upon himself to shut down Paul George. Like, man, J.R. Smith
been doing that all year.
He hasn't guarded George for most of the series.
No, okay. So he knows how to motivate a hard guy to motivate like a J.R. Smith, okay? And he's handpicked those shooters because he knows he needs that lane open. They played 5 guys outside the three-point line. That's why they couldn't switch. They couldn't guard pick and rolls. They didn't know what to do. But he also handpicked the coach. And that coach, Tyronn Lue, not only did they make the right adjustments offensively, they made the right adjustments defensively, and he didn't mess with the rhythm.
And by the way,
nothing worse
big time.
than you we got back in the game, we get the lead, and now the coach, all the NBA coaches, they go back to their guys the last 6 minutes.
And everything changes.
Right, and Tyronn Lue's like, no, these guys got us the lead. These guys stay in the game. That takes some lower intestinal fortitude
By the way,
to tell Kyrie and Kevin Love to sit there.
I know this was last topic. Paul George, his teammates had bailed. Russell Westbrook's teammates got tight in the fourth. LeBron, because he's a community service guy, during the regular season, elevates his guys for this moment. Look at how LeBron's
he definitely empowers
his players deliver in the postseason. Paul George is
He's playing with champions. They've been here before. He's playing with NBA champions. These other guys,
goofball when he got there.
But he's a champion. But I don't care how goofy or whatever you want to call him, you got to call him a champion at the end of all that. He's been in all these big time moments. So these moments aren't as big as it is for a guy that's playing in Oklahoma or a guy that's playing in Indiana. Those moments are huge, and the lights might be just a little too bright.
I think LeBron's a little better GM. Everybody bangs on Doc Rivers, the GM. LeBron may be one of the better GMs in the league. Look, he picks the right guys.
He's put good guys around him. And I think something, too, it's LeBron, just like in the regular season, I think he paced himself.
Yep.
He played 37 minutes, but he knew when not to have to go all out. I think he's doing the same thing early in the playoffs. Like I said, he's not guarding Paul George. You know, J.R. Smith is. When he needs to step up and guard the best perimeter player, he'll do it. But right now, I think he's coasting. I think that's what happened in the first half. Then he turned it on in the second half.
All right, welcome back. Doug Gottlieb, Chris Broussard, joined by now Super Bowl champ Eric Davis. Let's move to the Cowboys, whose schedule was announced yesterday. Dak and Zeke will have their work cut out for them. Dallas will play a first-place schedule and feature prominently in prime time throughout the year, as they should. They also end the season with a brutal stretch in December, finishing at New York, at Oakland and Derek Carr, home against Seattle, and at Philly. All right, Duggar, Cowboys going to have a letdown season.
Absolutely. Their schedule's more difficult, and the one misconception I think people have is they believe that it's more difficult with a rookie quarterback than a second-year quarterback. And we all have kids, and when you start having kids, everybody says, oh, terrible twos, terrible twos. But the truth is, a 3-year-old is more difficult to raise.
Absolutely. I've said that forever. Keep going.
Okay, because a 3-year-old, now they're out of diapers, they're in the big boy or big girl underpants, right? They're out of the crib, now they're in the big girl bed, and you have greater expectations of them. The same is true for a second-year quarterback in the NFL. Now Dak's been around the league. There are no excuses of, well, hey, he's just a rookie. He feels like he runs the team. They ran off Tony Romo, and the schedule's more difficult. You're more likely to have a letdown with a second-year quarterback than you are with a first-year quarterback, with a rookie quarterback. And look, if you look historically, Cam, Matt Ryan, even Brett Favre after his first year with the Green Bay Packers, great numbers, there was a little bit of a settling. And so many things went their favor last year. Now the schedule going against them, I think you're right.
I think their record will be worse. I think they could be a better team. remember the Wildcat offense? If you think about it, we're going to hike the ball to a back. And people are like, whoa, I can't defend it. Then everybody got an off season, and by the next year, even Miami was out on it. Yeah. Some of Dak's success was, we're in the middle of a season. Now all these defensive coordinators have had a season. Okay, these are the throws he makes. These are the throws he doesn't. I think he will be actually a better quarterback. But does that mean he'll have all the success? There was no injuries on the O-line. There was an element of surprise to Dallas last year. Now, I still love their offensive line and their personnel. But my feeling is Dak will be a better quarterback, but he may not win as many games next year.
I think he'll be a better quarterback. And the offensive line, they lost Free, but they've already started drafting, trying to replace that. I expect them to try to bring some more offensive linemen in. The formula that Dallas has works, and I think it'll work again. Will the league see what Dak can do and try to catch up to him? Yes, but Dak left a lot on the table last year. He was a rookie quarterback, and there were a lot of things he missed. He's going to be better.
Yes.
So do I think the record will be 13-3? No. I mean, they could possibly lose 5 out of their first 8 games if you look at the way their schedule is.
And they're also a target now. I mean, we went into those.
Yeah. So are you three guys saying, 5 out of their first 8, are you saying they won't make the playoffs?
He didn't say they would.
I didn't say they, but I mean, you look at their first 8 games. I mean, they have home games with the Giants, Green Bay, and Kansas City. Those won't be easy. They have to go to Atlanta. They have to go to Denver. They have to go to Washington, a divisional opponent. That right there is tough. They got the first place schedule. It's not going to be easy for them.
The schedule looks tough, but look, in the NFL, it's a roller coaster. How many times do we see a team go from first to last? It's happened like once in every year in the last 10 years. I mean, last year, 6 new teams made the playoffs. You would have looked at their schedule last year if Carolina's on it and thought, oh, they got to play Carolina. Would have been an easy game last year. Arizona would have been an easy game last year. So it's too much. I'm not going to get bent out of shape about an NFL schedule in April when year after year you see teams go from great to struggling.
And you know why? Because they have to play that first place schedule, and that's what happens.
That's not the sole reason, though.
But that's a big
part of it.
The schedule is a big part of it.
Yes,
look, we don't want to do meatball radio like that's a win, that's a loss, that's a win, because you don't know who's going to be healthy, when they're going to be healthy. But as Eric's pointed out, playing in it, covering it, knowing it, that first place schedule, plus they're the Cowboys, and you take Romo away, that seems like a good thing. But now all of a sudden, hey, this is your team, big boy. You got to carry us. Whereas last year, they didn't ask Dak.
But he still had pressure on him last year.
Of course he did, but...
No, actually didn't.
You don't think he did?
No, when he played poorly,
you're the third-string quarterback. You have to step in and start. And then toward the end of the year, there's all the talk about Romo coming back.
He delivered. Guys, if he had gotten benched last year, guess what happens? He was benched as a rookie.
But he had to fight off the pressure of the star behind him.
No, he didn't have to fight off anything.
How not?
Because jobs in the NFL are not won or lost. Opportunities are given and taken. And he was given the opportunity to go out and be the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. He was a rookie. There was no pressure. No, but there was no pressure to keep it.
I remember week 14, we were talking about if he has another bad one, he's out of here. I don't think he
handled it.
Here's what's funny. We talk about schedule. Here's why schedule matters. Because a first-place schedule only means, oh, we're playing the best quarterback in every division.
Yes.
If you go to the NFL last year, Brady, Big Ben, Rodgers, Russell, only Houston, and by the way, they tied with Tennessee, who had Marcus Mariota. So Dallas now is not facing first-place teams. They're going to face all Pro Bowl quarterbacks. All right, welcome back. Doug Gottlieb, Chris Broussard, Eddie House is back. Let's move to Oklahoma City, where Russell Westbrook and the Thunder look to avoid going down 0-3 to the Rockets. Westbrook was, well, typical Westbrook in Game 2, putting up a 51-point triple-double, but shooting under 40%, with a ridiculous fourth quarter where he went 4 for 18. Right, Duggar, does Westbrook need to change his style of play for the Thunder to have a chance?
So that would be suggesting that he's like Rocky in Rocky 2, and Billy Donovan is like Mick. Remember, because at the end, you know, he goes back and he fights and he wants him to be right-handed instead of being his more natural southpaw. No, I don't think you change Russell Westbrook. You can't, like, hey, I want you to play one way for 84 games, and the 85th game, let's start distributing and share the sugar in the second half. I think that Russell has to be Russell, and it's the guys you put around him. and they have to find their own inner self-confidence. And Billy has to learn to have confidence in guys that he may not believe in defensively, like an Enes Kanter. If your offense goes stale, as it did in the fourth quarter, get the ball to Enes Kanter, because the one thing he can do is score. If you need defense, you can go to that more defensive and athletic lineup, feel the game, read the game, but you're not going to rewire Russell Westbrook this late in the season.
I think it's really interesting. LeBron, after the Dallas series, the big disappointment in the finals, tweaked. Yeah, no, but he tweaked his game the following year. John Wall this year came into the season tweaking his game. James Harden came into the season, tweaked his game. I do think he needs to tweak his game. I think it's very hard to tweak it in the middle of the chaos. I think Russell next year needs to do what John Wall smartly did and Harden did. Okay, let's take a deep breath. I want to be a 12% more distributor. I think it's I mean, even LeBron, who has an incredible basketball IQ, after the Dallas series, in the middle of Dallas, he couldn't process it.
Why does he keep bringing this Dallas thing up? I mean, it's so disappointing, man.
He was in that.
Yeah, I was a part of that. Why do you keep bringing it up?
In the middle of that series, he couldn't do it.
No,
he needed an off season.
But to the point, Russ cannot change how he plays. And you want to ask him to start being a facilitator. I think the other guys need to step up. I agree with you. The other guys need to step up and make shots, make plays, create their own shots. Oladipo is struggling right now. I don't know if the lights are too bright. I have no idea what's going on with him, but he's not making shots. And even Steven Adams, he's playing like a shell of himself. Last year, Steven Adams looked like he has arrived. He's not even playing like that. So if Russ was to change how he played, you can pretty much, I think they're going to go home anyway, but you can pretty much book it and say, hey, man, they're going home, because he needs to do everything for this team.
By
he
the
needs
way,
to create
why are
and
those
score.
guys, Oladipo, Adams, are good players? They're B players, they're not A's. Why aren't they good? Maybe because he didn't nourish them during the season?
No way.
Look, when he got triple doubles, including the other night, they won 75% of the time. So for this series, they need to play the way they've played all year, hope he can get a triple double and lead them to a victory. Now, going forward in the offseason, he may want to do this one more time. He may want to come out and have some special individual season, but either this offseason or the next offseason, he's going to realize, all right, I want to start winning at a higher level. And that's when I think he'll dial it back a little and start getting more guys involved and things like that.
But also, I think that the front office, they need to make some moves. They need to put some players around him to where he's going to be able to make them successful, to make him successful as well, because he can go do what he wants at any time. But he's passing to guys that aren't knockdown shooters. You talk about LeBron, right? Who LeBron passing to? Kyle Korver. Yep. Channing Frye is a knockdown shooter, though, at his position. And Harden has Gordon, and also other shot makers, creators as well. He has Gordon and Lou Williams, Ryan Anderson.
I think they wanted to trade Kanter middle of the season. I just don't think they found like there was any sort of value there that they could equate. The Oladipo thing is interesting because it reminds me of when Evan Turner got traded to the Pacers, right? Right before the playoffs. Yeah. And Evan Turner was averaging 17 a game. And the one thing is, and this is a little bit more to your point in terms of your stats of how Russ plays against better competition. And now you crank that up in the playoffs. Like Oladipo was playing in games that did not matter, scoring points that did not matter. Like now it matters. Everybody scouts you. You're going to make Russ make contested three-point shots and make somebody else beat you, make Andre Robertson beat you. And he had a lot of assists in the regular season, was all out in transition. And the first 3 quarters of that game against Houston, they're up 10 with 2:21 to go, out in transition. Fourth quarter, hold on, fellas, put you in the half court, make you think, make your non-scorers score. And Russ was the only one with the lower intestinal fortitude to take those shots.
And you know how you get shots in transition is that you have to get stops.
Yep.
And they weren't getting any stops. They were just running the pick and roll. They was getting open. The other guys were just making shots as well and creating shots. I mean, Lou Williams, I think he could be the 6th man of the year. And then Gordon could be another 6th man of the year.
43 points.
Those two guys right there, I mean, what can you do?
All right, welcome back. Doug Gottlieb, Chris Broussard, Eddie House. Here we go. Let's move to the Celtics, who are down 0-2 to the Bulls and have clearly been struggling to deal with the loss of Isaiah Thomas's sister. They look to rebound in Game 3 tonight and will face the Bulls, a team without now Rajon Rondo, who fractured his thumb in Game 2, is now out indefinitely. I don't know, Doug. This feels like something. How big of a something is it?
I think it turns the series around. I think it's the 4-leaf clover that the Celtics have been looking for. You have the finality of the funeral service, which I think all of a sudden now the Celtics can kind of get their balance a little bit. Then you get frankly, the luck of having Rajon Rondo, who has, frankly, dominated this series.
He's been great.
He's dominated, and he's led. And then you have the drop-off between, what, you got Grant or Michael Carter-Williams is now the Bulls' point guard. Like, that is a massive drop-off, not just in terms of skill, but in terms of experience. You've said it. Men win in the playoffs, Colin. Rajon Rondo's a man. His backups are boys. I think this is just the change needed for the Boston Celtics to turn this thing around.
But Boston is getting beat on the glass.
Yeah.
That's my only reservation.
That may not change. Look, Rondo's been great at pushing the tempo. You know, ever since he came back in the regular season into the starting lineup, they've played faster. I don't know if these backups are going to be able to do that. Now, I do think it changes the series, gives the Celtics a shot, but I still, with a 2-0 lead going to Chicago, I'm sticking with the Bulls to win it.
It's going to be tough for the Bulls. I think the reason being is Rondo's an extension of the coach. Actually, he's a coach out on the court. He knows the plays before they're happening. If you watch the game, he was calling switch before they were supposed to switch. He's on top of everything. He makes it hard for Isaiah Thomas. I've had Rondo guard me in practice. He has tremendous length. He makes everything tough on you. Even though you can make shots, it's still tough. You're not comfortable. It just changes the way they play offense now. That's another guy that now D-Wade doesn't have to dominate the ball. Jimmy, they can get the ball in scoring positions. Now they're going to have to bring the ball up some and run a lot of pick and roll. When you run pick and roll, you know what happens. Usually you kick it. Either you come off the score or you kick it or you drive into a pass. So I think this is going to hurt them a little bit, but up 2-0 to your point, it's going to be tough for them, and maybe the Celtics could get through it, but you can't lose a guy like Rondo.
If it doesn't help the Celtics, if I was John Wall and didn't have to face Rondo, like, I don't know at this point.
Yeah, if he'll be back.
Like, I kind of feel like Chicago will figure out a way to win one. 3-1 deficit's tough. But the winner to me was Kyrie Irving. The winner is John Wall. Listen, John Wall is a nightmare for the Cavs.
Okay.
But Rondo's, I mean...
No, he's great. And the two most important positions defensively in the NBA, and frankly in basketball, point guard and defending the rim, right? And maybe four, because you got to be a stretch four to cover some of those athletes playing the four. But, you know, he's the most important part of their defense, and he's guarding, by the way, Isaiah Thomas, and they'd be guarding John Wall, and he dimes everybody up on offense. I will say this about Rondo. Remember when he played with the elbow? Yeah. He might tape it up and play with the broken
thumb. Yeah. I think we'll see him back.
This is the Speak for Yourself podcast featuring the best of Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock. I'm your host, Jason McIntyre. Everybody have a great weekend. Stay safe. Enjoy the sun out here in LA. I'll be tweeting about the games, maybe a Facebook Live here and there. Talk to you Monday.